Hello and welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. I'm your host, Dr. Jane Mountrose, here with my partner and co-director of Awakenings Institute, Dr. Phillip Mountrose. We're both spiritual coaches, healers, and guides, ministers of holistic healing who love to reach into the vast realms of spirit to enrich our lives and the lives of others, of course, and open more to love and light for us all. So this week, we're going to reflect on a topic that is obviously up in our awareness, which is clearing the path to peace. It's interesting with so much hatred dominating the consensus reality. It's easy to get caught up in that and feel that we can't make a difference, that we are really, you could say, victims to a force that is larger than ourselves. And in a way, it's larger than our individual selves, but it's not larger than our collective selves. And the more we can bring ourselves together and envision the life that we want to create, the better for everyone. And as I suggested, the key actually for finding the path to peace and clearing the path to peace is, for one thing, clearing any anxiety or anger or fear or whatever it is emotionally that's attached to the turmoil that's currently occurring in the world, and focusing on the reality that we want to create. With this, for this, we're going to be sharing our insights. We're going to do an oracle reading, as we often do, and a beautiful healing meditation to help us to clear out anything that's blocking us personally and collectively. We'll be doing it for ourselves and also for the world as a whole, and particularly those places where there's a lot of turbulence occurring. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate anyone who is here with us live or later on, because what you're doing is you're standing up as a beacon for love and light for the world. And it does mean something. It does make a difference. In fact, I think on a basic level, it might be one of the only things that can make a difference. So before we start the conversation, as usual, I want to just stop for a few beautiful breaths. And so if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, we're going to breathe. Just take a nice full breath of love and light from the universe, the most beautiful, amazing, miraculous, mystical love and light you can possibly imagine for yourself. Nice full breath. Then with the exhale, release. Release anything that is not that, so you can bring more of that, a higher vision and higher perspective on yourself to our time together. So a couple more nice breaths. A nice full inhale represents fully embracing life. And an exhale, nice full exhale, represents fully releasing those things that are not serving our lives right now. Wonderful. And you may notice just doing that simple thing, it can make a difference. You might feel like you're more present in your body just in those a few breaths. So that's something you can do anytime. And I want to welcome Nikki. Thank you for joining us. And Phillip, I'd like to ask you now, turn to you and ask you to share some on your perspective on this topic.
On developing inner peace and clearing the path to the peace within,
Right.
which
within and without,
which is the goal of meditation in many cases, especially Eastern or Buddhist meditation, and the eightfold path of all the right things, right intention, and right thinking, right livelihood, all those things that you get, quote, right. And on another plane and another perspective, there is the higher dimensions, the higher realms, and that's where you might associate or figure you arrive at peace when you're sort of transcending the 3D conflicted world that we face daily here. You go to a higher place to transcend it. and you can use your imagination to go there. And as you were saying earlier, Jane, it's more of a collective movement too, and that gives you hope and confidence that it's not just you. You're connecting with other people in higher planes and higher energies and higher beings to support ourselves and making the planet a more peaceful place.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I think it's important to understand we are creators, and we're creating our reality with our thoughts and feelings all the time. Of course, for our own immediate surroundings and reality, we have more of an impact personally. And that's why for us to join together collectively is so valuable, because it intensifies the impact of our energy on the world as a whole. And of course, having more beings that are generating light around the world is, to me, the ultimate solution. It's love, creating a world where love is the guiding force. If that was what was happening, there would be no war. There would be no hunger, because people would care about each other. The solution is very simple and obvious, but it is not obviously obvious to everyone. And
realizing with all the strife, all the divisions, all the conflicts and crises around us, that it is a world of contrast, and that is reminding us that we need to go to that inner peaceful place to transcend that. If we are okay and things are doing seemingly fine, automatic, they may not be that fulfilling or that deep. They may be pleasant, but they're not really inner peace. So to get to that higher level, you almost have to disrupt on this earthly plane the automatic going and lulling into sleep that we have through conflict. And if you get lost in the conflict, in the materiality and the division, then you lose yourself. But it is actually a sign, a signal to awaken to a place where you can embrace inner peace.
Right. And I think it's important to recognize also peace. The word peace, it's not an emotion. So it's like creating peace is we're creating something. And of course, I think Deepak Chopra says it's an action. As an emotion, if we want to create peace, peace is the result of generating and vibrating expansive emotions. And we often categorize them into three groups. Expansive emotions are the ones that actually generate change within us and within our reality. So it's love, joy, appreciation, passion, enthusiasm. Those you can feel like enthusiasm, passion, excitement. And it's kind of strange with what's happening to say, well, focus on enthusiasm and excitement. What we need to focus on enthusiasm and excitement for is our potential of creating something different. There's a phrase, the very common phrase, don't look where you don't want to go. Because if we're all focused on what we would say, if you look at those expansive, then there's neutral, which is transitional and kind of could go one way or the other. And then there's repressive, or imprisoning, constrictive emotions. And those would include things like anger and fear and frustration and hatred. Those, and you can feel how, especially if you get to the very low energies of them, like hatred and anger, you can feel that those are generative also, but they're generating something that we don't want. And that's what we need to understand, that we don't want to be part of the consensus, or you could say the mass consciousness thought forms, because those are the things that are generating the results that we're seeing in the world.
Right. And there is those definitions, taxonomies of different ranges of emotions, and one is Lazarus, the channeled beings for tiers of emotion, TIER of emotions, and the Abraham channelings about the levels of emotion. And there is some debate or differences between what's emotion is at what, quote, ranking on the
Right.
scale. And I think that's sort of secondary.
Right.
I think most important is to know that you want to try to reach into more of the expansive positive emotions as much as you can, also knowing that sometimes you will be in the lower restrictive emotions, the fear, the jealousy, the revenge, all those loneliness, those difficult emotions. And then if you look at them as an opportunity rather than a burden or a fear or a curse or something that's almost like a permanent problem for yourself that you're stuck in, you say, okay, now I'm feeling hurtful. I'm feeling very lonely right now. Well, that is an opportunity to explore that and to feel and know that I can get back to an expansive state. It may take a little doing.
Philip, Sharon just mentioned she's having a hard time hearing you. Yeah,
Okay.
your microphone.
So
you might want to move it a little further from you. Just
right here.
Yeah, maybe a little closer. I always just focus like the bottom of my chin.
Okay. So
how's that, Sharon? I hope good.
Yeah, so hopefully that's better. Thanks for pointing that out. I could get into negative emotions about that. Hey, what are you criticizing me for? What are you doing? But that would be another kind of level where sometimes when you are in negative emotions, you're misinterpreting. Like that was a helpful construction. I could be very defensive and annoyed by it, or blaming myself for making a mistake. And okay, if I were doing that, that happens, and it happens very quickly. That's something to observe and say, hey, what's going on there? How can I accept that, embrace that, transcend that?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's so interesting when you think about it. I've thought about this a lot because people often say things like, what we see in our external reality we have within ourselves. And I think that's true to a degree. Like I can understand anger, I can understand hatred, but I don't believe that I'm contributing to war and famine and those things in the world because I'm vibrating in a different direction and also contributing to to causes in a different direction. So the way I finally came to look at it, and I don't know if we've talked about it, Philip, but the way I look at it is our immediate what we're vibrating, and we're talking about vibrations from a high range to a low range. What we're vibrating is we're creating more things like it around us. So our immediate environment is a reflection of what we're vibrating personally. So it's in our bodies, whatever's happening, things that are happening in our bodies, things that are happening right around us in our world, in our reality. Those are the ones that are most connected to what we're vibrating personally. If you go out in terms of the whole world and different areas of the world, like the Middle East, which is generally in some kind of state of turmoil, it is a reflection of the mass consciousness platforms that are in that area that are dominating in that area, and then the world as a whole. Of course, you're looking at the whole world and what's dominating in the whole world. We often in the circle talk about rising above the mass consciousness thought forms, which I think is really valid because we're being affected by it just because we're in it. It's like we're in water or a soup that we can't control, and we don't really fully understand what's happening to us.
Yeah, if you think of conflicts, all the tribal conflicts like the Middle East and Ukraine and parts of Europe and so forth, these long-held tribal divisions, what is often recognized is the very simple solution that people need to just respect each other. And Rodney King once said, why can't we just all get along? I mean, there may be differences and there may be some challenges and compromises to get to that place, and that's part of it. But the first part is you want to get to that place. Without that, then there's no or little progress.
Right.
keep seeing these recurrent problems.
Right. And yeah, Sharon, I didn't get to say hi to Sharon, but hi, Sharon. She said that the sound is better. And thank
Great.
you. Yeah. Yeah. Anyhow, something else that I've been reflecting on recently too is how we're co-creating with nature. It is the beings in the elemental realms, the nature spirits, the divas, all of those, the gnomes, the fairies, all of those different beings. They are building. They're the builders. So they're out there like the carpenters. And if we're thinking hatred and anger and war, we have actually beings who, not wanting to, but because it's their role, they have to create an environment that's conducive to whatever it is that we're vibrating. So I think it's also worth knowing that when we change and when we shift on creating something that is really majestic and wonderful and spiritual and mystical, it makes a difference. I communicate now with the nature spirits in our yard and around us and ask them to create a sacred space for us in our house and all around our house. And it works. I can tell.
Yes, it is very wonderful to connect with nature, and that's one of the key resources for us all, to look at how nature harmonizes as a model for us, how we should harmonize, and we're part of nature, and nature's part of us.
Right. Yeah. And Buddy just jumped up on my lap too.
And we're part of the doggy and animal kingdom too.
You're telling us to love, aren't you?
We're all in this together. So how do we want to treat ourselves? How do we want to treat our nature, our neighbors, our animals?
Right. Yeah. Anyhow, I think if you really connect with that and just view the nature in your area, or just ask to connect with the beings of nature around you, whether you can see them, however you perceive them, you may just be able to feel their presence. And they appreciate actually our cooperation, because they're trying to create more in alignment or in harmony with God's plan for humanity. And this is not it. War and all of that is not, that's not what the plan is. What it is an indicator that humanity is off course from the divine plan.
And to go back to that previous comments about dealing with all the meta crises, the climate crisis, the justice crisis, geography, what can you do? Sometimes it seems overwhelming and hopeless. And there's your negative, vibrating those negative emotions. So now you're vibrating at that very negative place. So first of all, we have to recognize it is occurring. We can't put our heads in the sands and pretend it's not. But by being in this better place, this higher state, this more expansive emotional place, that way we're in a better place to change the energy, and it gets out there in the morphic fields and the thought forms in the ethers for people to pick up on. And I think we all can recognize that when things are more prevalent, just like the acceptance of, say, people of gay marriages and so forth. When things hit a threshold, people start to accept these things. At first, they were very fearful and ignorant of, but enough people were vibrating at a higher level that it became accepted, and people changed their relationship and vibration.
Yeah, of course, now we have the the people who are trying to get it back repressed again.
It does boomerang back to some of the people.
Yeah, what is it? Life is a process of boomerangs. What you put out spins around.
If you that's why we're putting out Inner Peace today.
Right. Yeah. And Lula's here. Hi, Lula. So great to see you. She says, hello, Circle of Love and Light family. Fantastic topic for today. Yeah, I think what else could it be? Because it is everything. It's everything for us personally and collectively. So
I
Phil, did you want to draw a card?
Yeah, and before I draw a card, I just want to insert William Wordsworth's poems, one of my favorite poems that it's very inspiring. Our Our birth is but a sleep
Mm.
and a forgetting. The soul that rises with us, our life's star, hath had elsewhere its setting, and cometh from afar. Not in entire forgetfulness and not in utter nakedness, but trailing clouds of glory do we come from God, who is our home.
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful.
So let's draw a card from, we were using the mystical shaman deck today, right?
Yeah, that sounds fine. Whatever you want to use is
which
fine
is
too.
by 3 authors, Alberto Villoldo, Colette Baron Reed, and Marcela Lobos. More of a Spanish Latin influence there. And it is a beautiful deck, and look this way. Those are
the cards they're really, really beautiful. And they're profound too. That's what I've noticed at
so
least.
I'm just shuffling the deck. So this will be a card that will give us some insight about inner peace or creating the path to peace.
Right. Yeah. That's our
So
focus.
The card
Oh,
today.
that's beautiful. Hummingbird.
The hummingbird. Everyone see a hummingbird.
Wow. That's really pretty.
So
a lot of times you can see these images from this particular deck online too, if you want to look it up. That's so beautiful.
I'm going to read a couple words from the description. It's short of this card, the hummingbird. If I can hold it up and read at the same time. Despite being so little, hummingbirds are great journeyers migrating between North and Central or South America to feed from the summer nectar. The gentle creature can be fiercely territorial to protect its home. Hummingbirds teaches us to be gentle to ourselves and protect our personal space. Hummingbird invites you to embark on your epic quest, bypass the dung pile of old pain and hurts, head for the flowers, and learn to trust the calling you hear ever so softly.
Beautiful.
So one of the things about hummingbirds is they seem very ethereal, very magical.
I have to say this, Phil.
Yes.
Sharon Williamson just said, I have a hummingbird outside my window right now.
Right. We all have hummingbirds on one level or another around us, metaphysical and otherwise and physical. Yeah, they're beautiful. They're so fast. They seem supernaturally fast. You can't even almost see them beat their wings. They're so fast and they're moving so quickly.
Right.
And that reminds me of the higher vibration that we're talking about that clears the way for peace.
Right.
And you do that by first of all, just declaring that you want to do that by listening to a show like this in yourself, that I want to be in a more peaceful world in spite of all the challenges around us, finding ways to express peace and be in peace and spread the peace.
Yeah. When I think of birds in general, I think of them as intermediaries between heaven and earth. They're kind of a little bit above us in the trees and around us. And hummingbirds, I think, are probably one of the fastest vibrating of all of the birds too.
Yeah.
They're so wonderful. We have a hummingbird feeder out in our yard, and a lot of times Philip and I will go and sit out in the sun, and the place where we sit is close to the hummingbird feeder. So every few minutes I hear a hummingbird or see a hummingbird buzzing around me, which is really magical to me.
It is uplifting.
So beautiful. Yeah.
It occurs to me too with birds. Birds are one of the few animals, I'm not sure if there are any others, that are just freely visible. They do have times of being protective and they don't want to get too close to humans, but they're very visible because they're in a space where they can just fly around pretty much right in front of us, unlike most animals, which have to hide from predators and especially human predators. So we don't really get to see many nature animals except for our pets, of course.
Right. Yeah. When I'm out, sometimes I see them occasionally, and they, for those who have hummingbird feeders, you probably know they become more friendly towards you over time. And sometimes they'll just be buzzing in front of me, just a few feet away from me, kind of looking at me for a little bit. And I always think it's their way of reminding me of the higher realms, to connect again with the beauty in the higher realms. So beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I noticed just talking about the hummingbirds, that lifted my spirits. I don't know if anybody else is feeling it, but it just, there's a certain joy that comes from having them around us. And so that was a really beautiful card to draw for today.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing we do is our meditation, and we can actually draw as we start. We can draw on that beautiful joy and love that the hummingbirds bring. What we're going to do is essentially a violet flame meditation. So we're going to use the violet flame with the assistance of Saint Germain and his twin flame, Lady Portia, and also Archangel Zadkiel and his twin flame, Holy Amethyst. It's kind of like getting out all of the most powerful beings for using the violet flame. And I'd really like to feature Holy Amethyst. So we're talking about here angelic energy, and this is a picture of it from Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light Oracle cards.
Yeah,
I
beautiful.
particularly like using these oracle cards, which I've mentioned often, because you can look into their eyes, and you could do that now, just looking into, if you can see the image, Holy Amethyst eyes, and just asking her to be present for us for this meditation. I have some thoughts about her here. It says she's the twin flame of Zadkiel, who is the angel who transmutes negative into love and learning. Zadkiel is the keeper of the violet flame in the angelic realms. The violet flame helps us to release what no longer serves us. And this is something that's magical to me about using the violet flame, is you can use it if something is dragging you down, whether it's just kind of feeling like you're off, or you're kind of worried or a little anxious, all the way down to if you're feeling very fearful and helpless, hopeless, any of those things. You can draw on the violet flame. What it does is transmutes whatever it is into love and light and joy. And it does bring us back to a more joyful place too. So I'm again wanting to invite Holy Amethyst to join us. We can start breathing in more love and light from the universe. And I feel her presence very strongly, thanking us for inviting her and allowing her and those around her, the ones who I'm also going to invite, to contribute to this meditation, because it will help us to rise to a higher level and to clear with greater ease whatever it is that might be holding us back from creating a more peaceful and loving world. So you might feel her energy too. Just imagine surrounding yourself with that amethyst light. You can feel it all through your body. Just then, as you feel lighter, we're going to rise first to a mystical mountaintop. And we're going to do this to rise above the mass consciousness thought forms, as we often do in our meditations. So just breathing more of that beautiful violet light in, love from Lady Amethyst. And when you arrive at the mystical mountaintop, just notice what's around you. And of course, the intention here is to rise up so high that we are above the mass consciousness thought forms. And with that, you might feel some of that mass thought form energy kind of draining away from you. You can imagine it going down into the earth, where it can be neutralized and turned back into light, allowing you to feel more in harmony with who you are. And with that, I want to invite in also Archangel Zadkiel. Of course, he is also a violet. The energy is very violet, violet flame. And Saint Germain, who is one of the leaders of this transition that we're making into the new age. And he's here to support us all as a teacher. The masters, the ascended masters who have had lives on the earth and have ascended from this plane. They're our teachers because they've been where we are. So we have, again, Saint Germain and his twin flame, Lady Portia. And I just invite them all to surround us with love. And as we connect with the love, also then we can ask for the violet flame. And the violet flame is a cool flame. It's actually very supportive of us. And you can just now allow yourself to feel any feelings of helplessness about the situation the world is in, anger, frustration, whatever it is. Repression is not the way out. The way out is to clear and to heal. So again, with the violet flame energy around us, we can transmute anything that might be preventing us from opening fully to our magnificence, the higher self within us, who can actually generate the highest vibrational energy to vibrate out around us and into the world. And with holy amethyst here, I often, when I think of the violet flame, I think of the energy of an amethyst with colors all the way from a deep, deep violet to the pale lilac colors, and then the sparkling white tips, the points on the amethyst crystal. So you can imagine all of the perfect range and shades of violet for the violet flame, because it's for you. So you can ask for the best violet flame ever for you, whatever that is. And because some people say it has to be this, it has to be that, it's for you. And just ask, just ask for the perfect one for you. And it's whatever makes you feel most in harmony with it, really. That means it's what you understand most. And I personally, I particularly enjoy sparkles of light because they spark into those little stuck crevices and bring things out to be neutralized. And essentially, when we're talking about clearing, if we imagine this violet flame energy going all through our bodies, what we're asking for is for it to enter every cell. And within the cell, every atom in the cell, because we're going down to the smallest number or smallest view, which is really the most important, because this is where in the atom we can imagine the electrons spinning. And what we want individually is to have lots of electrons spinning quickly, right? Because that's producing the most energy for us on all levels, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. And then the violet flame goes in the space between the electrons and routes out any of those mass consciousness thought forms, any restrictive energies that are like sludge in our energy field that slow us down and hold us down. So as we clear out those spaces with the violet flame, we become lighter and brighter. So you may be feeling that too, just allowing the violet flame to do what it can for you today. You feeling it, Philip?
Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful. And of course, when I started using it regularly, and it is wonderful because it doesn't necessarily take a lot of time from my experience. 5 minutes with the violet flame can make a big difference to your day. Just brightening up and asking for the optimal amount of energy that can flow through you to help you to support the electrons. in your body. And of course, to clear out any of that kind of stuck energy in your emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. And when I started doing this, uh, I started noticing, well, gee, after a few minutes, I start feeling more loving and more joyful. And it does, it transmutes those stuck energies into love and joy. So it really feels good. And so you may be experiencing it now, just opening to that love that you hold in your heart and asking it to vibrate more of the love and joy of the life, being the creator of the life that is here for you on a soul level. Really, the life, the purpose that is your life purpose, that is the contribution you can make to the world at this time. And for all of us, one very simple contribution is just to be vibrating light and love out to the world. So you can imagine sending it out to your world around you, filling your whole home. And then you can also violet flame your house, your property, if you have property around it. And again, with your intention, ask for what you want. If you want a sacred space to live in, just ask for that and ask for the violet flame to clear out anything that is not creating this for you. And then we can imagine, essentially, we can imagine rising up even higher. So we're above the world, looking down on the planet. So we can see the planet in front of us now. And then asking the violet flame to surround the whole planet and help humanity to rise to a higher way of being. Again, asking for the support of Saint Germain, Lady Portia, Archangel Zadkiel, and Holy Amethyst to support us in sending more violet flame energy to heal the wounds in the world, in the mass consciousness thought forms, those places where war is erupting out of hatred and divisions that only exist in human beings' minds. They don't exist, actually. It's the illusion of limitation that creates them. So you can just feel the violet flame going in through that and helping human beings to clear that out of their space. And of course, surrounding the world with love. And Philip, have you sensed any messages from Holy Amethyst or any of the other beings around us?
Well, let me tune in.
Okay.
That's when I'll receive them. I was just following along the rest of the meditation.
Okay.
So Holy Amethyst is here, feeling the love, spreading the love, being in the love, letting that go deep within your heart so it just naturally bursts forth everywhere out into the world, this wonderful presence and energy of growing love that cannot be contained, because it truly can't. And the more it grows, the more it spreads to more and more people and more of yourself and more of your daily activities and events. Seeing the world from the light of love is very different from seeing it in division and hatred and separation. Seeing love means that you are at one with things, at one with your heart, in a place of gentle flow, even in spite of difficult challenges that may be all around you. So you find that core of love to help heal yourself and the world. and just spread that love to yourself, all parts of yourself, and to all parts of the world as best you can, which is just right now. We love you.
Thank you. I do feel so much love from her and from all of these beautiful beings around us. And there are others too that are contributing right now to this experience that we're having. And they can actually, if they're in a place where they feel humans are coming to them with a pure intent for doing good, they can help to activate that light within us too. And I just want to ask them now to activate, if there's any more light that they can help us to activate, to do so. I have to forgive Foxy if you can hear my little barking dog. You might feel more intense light around you. And just, if you want, receive, just receive with gratitude and joy. The feeling I have, it's like we are their children. We are those who they are nurturing and nourishing and supporting to help them to create a more loving world. And of course, on the even larger scale, as Philip was suggesting, to go all the way up to God, our creator, to help God to expand and grow and create a more loving world as part of that. And they want to give us confidence that we make a difference. I can feel that. And they want us to be clear about how to do that, that we have a way to do that. We don't have to settle for confusion because we don't know of anything we can do. This is something anyone can do.
Like Wordsworth said, trailing clouds of glory, do we come from God? We can follow those trails back to God.
Right, right. And that's what we're doing now. So I'm very grateful for everyone who's here with us now and for all of the beings of light who are surrounding us. And I want to mention you can come back to this place. You can come back to the mystical mountaintop and then go out even further so that you can see the planet as a whole. And use the violet flame. Ask for activations of light from these beautiful beings. If there's any available to you, you can ask if there's any available today. I know they want us to feel clear. They want us to feel confident that we're on the right path, that what we're doing is making a difference, and that we are appreciated and loved, which we definitely are. And before we return, I also think it's appropriate for us to send our love to them, to thank them for being with us always in these times, to support us. And with that, we can start our drifting back down. We're going to drift all the way back down to the place where we started, where we're sitting or resting. We want to anchor our feet to the ground, or to vibrate, to connect our feet with Mother Earth, who also is here supporting us and appreciating us for supporting her. So you might feel that love from the earth coming up through your feet. And then, as always, breathing in more active energy, coming back to your normal waking state. Again, feeling the light, feeling the love, feeling the joy, and knowing that it's okay to feel joyful. Everyone on earth has the choice of feeling joyful. And it's interesting, some of the most joyful people are some of the people who have the least, who appreciate being alive and having each other and all of the blessings that the earth is providing them. So again, breathing in that active energy, you can stretch out, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. That felt good.
Mm-hmm.
How was it for you, Phil?
It was very nice. Yeah, good connection.
Buddy liked it. He came back. He said,
Everybody
I
enjoyed
like
it too.
this energy. Yes, I like it. I like all this love. Yes, you do. I know you do. He almost kissed me. He's not a big kisser, but he thought about it.
He considered it.
Right, he considered it as an option. Okay, and of course, it always in the circle we focus on the contribution that we're making to the planet. And we can, if you imagine the planet in your mind's eye now, just imagine all of the sparkles of light around the world, all of those of us who are here wanting to create more harmony, more peace, more unity, more cooperation between people. I think we probably underestimate the number of people who are like that because we don't get pressed. We actually don't we don't pay for advertising like drug companies. But we're here and we are making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So any more thoughts, Philip, on
Well, we're here to use the material and to transcend the material world, not to get lost and caught up in it.
Right.
But use it as a vehicle, not an end in itself, but a way to appreciate life, explore life without getting trapped by it and divided by it.
Yeah.
But to find ways to use it as a resource.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So would you like to tell everybody how they can find out more about what we're doing at Awakenings
Right.
Institute to support the planet?
Yes, for Awakenings Institute, our website, very extensive with lots of free videos and articles and trainings. And there's a free resource kit I'd invite you to get at tinyurl.com /spiritual-kit, tinyurl.com/spiritual-kit for a free spiritual healing resource kit that I think you'll enjoy.
Wonderful. And I see you put up a link for it. So thank you for that. We also completed an ebook. It's probably been a year or so now. I can't remember. A while back, called The Solution: Make a Difference and Change the World with the Power of Love. It's a free ebook. There are no attachments on it other than copywriting it. We don't want somebody to copy it and say it's theirs just because it's not. But you can download it easily. You can share it with friends. What we'd really like is to have people share it with people who may not otherwise read something like that. Because if you can understand how important the power of love is and how powerful it can be in a person's life, it's just a no-brainer almost. We talked about the energies that are expansive. They also, what they do is they vibrate more life energy. And so love is a very expansive energy that it's so powerful. They say now it actually increases longevity. Whereas if you're in hatred and fear and anger, anything that stresses you, it's going to reduce your lifespan. And actually it is conducive for the creation of just about all the diseases that are known to humanity. There are a lot of statistics out there about that you can find. And we refer to all those things in that book. I think that those who are so destructive around the world, they don't understand. I think often of Jesus, forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. And I think that that is true. But what they're doing is destroying. It's destructive towards humanity as a whole and to them personally. So, any other thoughts before we finish?
No, I think that feels complete.
Okay, so you can support the circle by following our page on Facebook. Oh, I was going to say, no, it's facebook.com/awakenings circle. You can follow the page. You can share the video with your friends, which again gets the word out more. And you can invite your friends to join you in the circle, live or any other time. I feel that people who join us anytime, whether you're live or not, if it's at another time, it's still you're receiving and contributing to the energy of the whole of all of us together. So thank you for that. And the very final thing we do is to send that love and light forward for the coming week. So if you want to imagine just all of that love, that peace, that harmony, joyfulness, excitement about the world we're creating, just send all of that forward into the week ahead. Being in the flow. I love to tell myself I'm in the flow with joy and ease. Just imagine yourself being in a beautiful flow with life all through the week. And we'll hope to see you again next Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern time in the United States. Have a wonderful week, and hopefully we'll see you soon.